Hello and welcome. Today is Wednesday, August 1st, and this is Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, and I'm coming at you from the 256. Today we are continuing with fantasy football talk. We will be discussing wide receivers today. But check out my other two videos from Monday and Tuesday about quarterbacks and running backs by following the link in the top right. But let's just go ahead and get started with today. The top 10, the top 3 is easily predictable because you could pretty much mix them up any kind of way. Really, Antonio Brown, he really is. He's the number one coming in. I know some of the rankings vary depending on what your league is and what the scoring is, but these are still pretty close regardless. But the top 10, Antonio Brown, number one. Been number one the last 5 years, 4 or 5 years. He is the number one. Nobody's going to catch the volume that he catches. Then the next two, they are right on his heels, and they could be thrown in any kind of order. But Julio Jones is number 2 coming into this season, and DeAndre Hopkins is 3. But I believe Hopkins is better because he almost seems quarterback-proof. No matter who's back there throwing, he gets his catches, he gets his yards, and he scores touchdowns. Julio, he'll light it up for yards, but he lacks touchdowns, unfortunately. But he still, because last year was a down year, and he still had almost 1,500 yards receiving. I believe it was like 1,444. It was something like that. But he had 3 touchdowns. So I think Hopkins is number 2 over Julio, but coming in, Julio's over Hopkins. And then the next order, you could jumble them up. There's all kinds. After those 3, you can mix it up. They're in any kind of order. But this one, Keenan Allen is 4. I believe. I mean, there's no issue with that one there. I'm going to catch a lot of balls in, LA for the LA Chargers now. Usually pass first. I know they're trying to move a little bit more to the run with Melvin Gordon, but they do throw the ball a lot. 5, I don't really like this one, but he's obviously been good enough to be considered one of the best in the league, Odell Beckham Jr. He's at 5 coming in this year, but he's had ankle issues in the past, and then obviously last year he broke his ankle and missed. But he's had injury problems in the past, but he's still extremely young. Obviously very good at what he does, catching the football. The Saints, Michael Thomas is at 6. No issue with that. Number 1 target for Drew Brees. He's going to catch a lot of passes. So no issue there. AJ Green, he's 7. Obviously he's going to be productive, but that offense, the quarterback situation is getting worse by the year. Andy Dalton, he's really started to fall off, and I believe AJ Green will produce, but that offense there, something just doesn't sit right with me there. And then 8 is T.Y. Hilton. He's going to produce for the Colts offense regardless. He's the only one there to produce for that offense for the Colts. But again, maybe people will start focusing in on him and shut him down. He's still questionable to me. He's still gonna do well, but not one that I would really want. Devontae Adams, number 1 option in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. You're gonna catch passes. You're gonna score. You're gonna do a lot. Adam Thielen was out of nowhere last year with Case Keenum as a quarterback. Now he has Kirk Cousins. Like I said the other day, Kirk Cousins. I don't know how he's going to do in the new offense. Obviously, he's expected to do well. I expect him to do decent enough. But Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs are both top 15. They're going to catch a lot of passes, the both of them. So no issues there. Adam Thielen, he won't hurt you if you pick him up. I'm just going to skip notables today because there's lots of likes and ones that I don't like for today. So we'll just go ahead and skip notables because the wide receiver, there are so many. So I'll just start with my likes. Mike Evans, he checked in at 11th, but 6'5", he leads the league in end zone targets with 73 since he joined the league in 14. He had 12 touchdowns. Even numbers are very good for him. 2014, 2016, he had 12 touchdowns in each of those seasons, those even number seasons. But in 15, he only had 3, and last year he only had 5 in 2017. But the even numbers seem to do him well. Even number years. 14, 16. So I believe 18 will be good. especially if Jameis Winston is healthy once he gets back from injury or from suspension. Excuse me. But I believe Mike Evans, quality receiver, has the ability to be number one. So I think no issues there. Tyreek Hill, last year he was one of the tops in the league. He's all purpose. He can catch, he can run, and he is a huge threat in the kick and punt return game. He has the ability to find the end zone anytime he touches the ball any way possible. Like last year against the Cowboys, the pass that was a 20-yard pass, they needed 60 yards or some 50, 60 yards for a touchdown, so they threw it at him 20 yards, and he just found a way, followed his blocks, found a way into the end zone as the clock ran out on the first half of that game. May suffer from new quarterback situation, but his abilities may help that situation. The changeover. So Tyreek Hill, he checks in at 12, but I believe he can be better than that, and I believe he will be. Josh Gordon's ranked extremely high, and I'm one of those that has him ranked high. He checks in at 13th. He only played 5 games in 17 and only played 5 games between 2014 and 2016 because of suspension. Everybody knows Josh Gordon's situation, but it was like he never left. He came back and he averaged 8.6 targets per game in those 5 games last year and was immediately the number 1 target for the Browns when he came back. But even though they may look to run the ball a little more with their quarterback situation, he is the guy in Cleveland. They're going to throw him the ball a lot, probably 10 times a game. They're going to throw it at him. And we've seen what he can do when he's the main target. He's ridiculous. Only receiver to ever have back-to-back 200-yard games back in 13. But Josh Gordon, you're going to want him. Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan's actually one that I really like. He checked in at 23rd. Excuse me. But the Patriots traded away Brandon Cooks, so that opens the door for Hogan. He to be have an every down role, and he will see a healthy dose of targets this year. But he replaces Cooks, and he was a top 10 receiver last season before he hurt his shoulder with Cooks in the offense. So obviously that offense throws the ball a lot in New England. He's going to be very, very good. Hogan is somebody that you want as well. I have 3 more I want to talk about that I actually really like. Juju Smith-Schuster, 24th. He was a top 20 receiver last season as a rookie, so his role should only grow bigger. But he did finish with 58 catches on 80 targets for 917 yards and 8 touchdowns as a rookie. He has the big play ability. When they lock down Antonio Brown, they throw a bomb to Juju Smith-Schuster. But he should just see a bigger role increase. He is the number 2 in Pittsburgh. Big Ben likes to throw the ball. Even with Le'Veon Bell, they throw the ball around, do a lot through the passing game. He's one that you want. Pierre Garçon, that's somebody that you never really think about. He checked in at 28th, but he averaged 9 targets a game last year. He averaged 9 targets a game without scoring a single touchdown, and was still in the top 20 in fantasy points last year before he hurt his neck. Week 8, before he hurt his neck and had a season-ending neck injury, didn't come back. With a quarterback that looks like he's set to do big things in Jimmy Garoppolo, he should still see that heavy amount of targets. Maybe he won't score, but he's the guy that they look for to really throw the ball to a lot. So Pierre Garçon, from his targets alone, especially in PPR leagues, that's somebody that you want to have. And then my last one I wanted to talk about was Will Fuller. He comes in at 40th. And it's hard to know what's going to happen week to week with him, but when he was with Deshaun Watson last season, he had 7 touchdowns in 4 games. 7 touchdowns in the 4 games he got to play with Watson last year. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Deep threat, speed guy. And if Deshaun Watson is healthy, Fuller's somebody that you want because he's going to score touchdowns because he's going to find a way, or Deshaun Watson's going to find a way to give him the ball. any way possible, and usually it's for a big touchdown. But no, Will Fuller is somebody that you want if Deshaun Watson is the quarterback and healthy. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is the number one receiver, but Fuller, extreme deep threat, somebody that Watson's going to look for when he's ready to throw a deep ball. But now I'll get into the receivers that I would stay away from, that I'm going to stay away from. Allen Robinson at 16, I think that's extremely high. He missed all of last season with a torn ACL. He caught 2 passes in the first game and went down with the ACL injury. He joins the Bears. He is expected to be the number one option for Mitch Trubisky, but you don't really know what Trubisky's going to do this year. I think the Bears are going to rely a lot more heavily on the running game and Jordan Howard than they will throwing the football. He obviously had a great year in 2015. He was finished sixth overall. Robinson did. A huge drop in production in 2016. And then last year, obviously, he missed 2017 with an ACL injury. I'd just stay away because you don't know what the Bears are looking to do with the offense. I just don't trust in Allen Robinson, especially coming off an injury and the dip in his production from 15 to 16. The next one is Jarvis Landry. He came in at 29th. Short route receiver. Almost all of his catches were extremely short. But last year in Miami, or during his time in Miami, it was such a high volume of targets and catches that you just didn't notice how short those were. And he was the number one option in Miami, so they had no problem just dumping him the ball and letting him get a couple yards. Not many big plays. Lots of catches, but not lots of big chunk plays. But now he's in Cleveland, and he's not the number one option. And you don't know what that offense is going to do. Like I said, Josh Gordon, he's the number one option. He's going to catch a lot of passes when they do throw the ball. So for Jarvis Landry, just stay away from Jarvis Landry. Kelvin Benjamin is my next one. He comes in at 32nd. He missed all of 15 with an ACL injury. And then when he got to come back onto the field, his production was down from what it was in 14. In 2016, his production was down. He was traded during the season last year to the Bills and wasn't very productive in the 6 games he got to play with Buffalo last year. He is their number one option, but they have an extremely shaky quarterback situation. You don't know if it's going to be A.J. McCarron or Josh Allen. The Bills are going to rely on what they have here recently, and that's a heavy dose of LaShawn McCoy in the running game. So I just would stay away from Kelvin Benjamin, even though he will be the number one in Buffalo. Another one that is the number one option that you should still stay away from is Robbie Anderson of the Jets. He's 39th heading into the season, but he faces suspension for legal issues. He is the number one option, and he produced well with their quarterback situation last year. But that quarterback situation is still ongoing. But like I said, he's facing legal issues, suspension, and in the midst of that quarterback situation. And people know that he is that guy now. So people will try to lock him down a little more, contain him in that offense when it does produce. So I would stay away from Robbie Anderson. And then the last one is, which nobody expects a lot out of him anyway, but Jordy Nelson at 47th. Even last year with Green Bay, he was already produced at a low rate. He was a low production last year, and now he's moved to Oakland, which they're going to rely heavily on Marshawn Lynch. With John Gruden being the coach, Marshawn Lynch is going to be carrying the load, and he's not even the number one option. That's Amari Cooper, who is somebody that I'm kind of down on too. He's had 2 of the worst seasons when it comes to drops in NFL history, 2 of the 3 years that he's been in the league. And Jordy Nelson isn't the number one, like I said. Amari Cooper is. Stay away from Jordy Nelson. Don't even put him on your team because he's not going to do much. Or at least I don't think he's going to do much. So I wouldn't even look at Jordy Nelson even when he's there on the list. But that is where I will end this one with the wide receivers. Be sure to check out the last 2 episodes for Monday and Tuesday talking about fantasy quarterbacks and fantasy running backs. Tomorrow I will discuss tight ends. It will probably be a little shorter because obviously there's not a whole lot with the tight ends, and the same thing with defense and special teams on Friday. Those will probably be a little shorter, but we'll see when we get there. We'll cross that bridge. But this has been Spittin' Sports with Lamar. I am Casey Lamar, and I look forward to talking to you all again tomorrow.